It's a little early, but it's about time we start thinking about the congressional race, too. Welcome into my State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. We're here each weeknight at 7:30, and it's always a pleasure to have you aboard, and thanks for spreading the word on the program. Don't you kind of feel a real big TGIF today? Oh, man, it's been so cold. I'm starting to get used to it. This is what it's like living in, like, Minneapolis, St. Paul all the time, in case you were wondering. And the car is so dirty. I have a black car. It's so dirty. I don't even know if I should clean it because we got some snow coming tomorrow. Oh, yeah. But this is the midwinter blues, and, you know, we're not even at the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It's just, you know, but there's a lot of basketball tomorrow. URI Dayton at 4 o'clock at the Ryan Center. I'll be behind the PA mic. I'll say hi. PC's on 1 o'clock. Got Xavier. Bryant's playing. Rhode Island College is playing for the top spot in their division and their league tomorrow and on campus. So there's a lot going on. I always think about basketball, but you have your own activities. Enjoy the weekend. We've got the guy who says he wants to run against Jim Langevin today. Rue Reese. That's a really interesting name. Rue Reese. And he's running for Congress, and he'll tell us why in our second and third segments like we normally do. A little punchy on a Friday. Let's check out the rundown and get down to business here. Yeah, you know, it's starting to feel like we're stuck. You know, stuck. You got to live with stuck. We're also population stuck. You know, they tout it as an increase, but it's, you know, this much. 23 projects, 41 shots, 23 projects. We need one big idea. A little bit of that when it comes to some governmental stuff yesterday, and that, you know, I'm not talking about the place, we're talking about the date. I don't think it's going to happen, but they've been floating it. Okay, let's dig into the rundown and do our thing here. Yeah, so the headline on this today is the first thing you see if you still read the paper in the morning. That is a changing behavioral pattern, but I don't have time for that. Rhode Island's jobless rate goes back up last month. It went from 9.0 to 9.1, which puts us already, you know, dead last. We were tied for dead last. We're still in the dead last category. What the heck's the difference? That's the Department of Labor and Training Office where you go when you are unemployed to see if you can get some assistance, both a check and some leads for a job. My only thought about this is that when I looked at that unemployment rate today, I just thought to myself, you know what? With a government that says that we're in good shape for the most part, really, we have a state house that thinks that we need a status quo program for 2014. I wonder if they read these headlines. I mean, do they not know what 9.1% unemployment is? Do they not know that we need an adrenaline shot like nobody's business? You all know it. We all know it. The unemployed certainly know it. But it's getting to the point where it feels like it's the new normal. Like, you know, this is just kind of where it's going to be until someone comes in here and just blows this place up, figuratively, of course. So, you know, last night I was speaking at the Rhode Island Contractors Association down at the West Valley Inn, had a nice dinner. I like the sauce there. Good ziti. You know, these are working hard working people, salt of the earth. These are the people that get their hands dirty and build things and hire folks and keep the economy moving, and they're working. So what I'm saying is that we've got kind of this new normal with this constant last place unemployment data, but don't let it get you down, because you got to find a way to work around what I guess the statistical realities are. And if you are unemployed, you got to find a different way to go about it. We'll spend some time on that in the next few weeks, I think, talking about a different way of going about it. So, moving on, the population is mostly flat. See, this is Thing Journal headline, of course, more births than deaths behind Rhode Island growth. Okay, so we you know, there were, what was that song? There'll be one child born in this world to carry on, when I'm gone, when I'm gone. Who wrote that? Jess, who wrote that? No idea. Steve's a little older. Steve, who wrote that? You don't know either? You know what? I'd like to make a formal request to the management here to get me some older employees, because I date myself with all the, I barely understand who Justin Bieber is. Well, he's in the news, but come on, your state of mind, remind me. See, on the radio I do this and the phones light up. I'm pre-recording here now, so I'm stuck. Anyway, who? Kevin would have done it? Okay. Well, could you get Kevin to direct the show tonight, Steve? No, anyway. There'll be one child born. You know who'll know it? Zachary will know it. He's coming in with the candidate. Anyway. Woo! Here's my point. I had a point. A few more babies born than people croaking. I guess that's a good piece of news. Whoops! Here in the state of Rhode Island. And I guess there is many people moving in from out of the country as moving out. Now you say, Dan, what is the purpose of this foot video? The answer is, I have no idea. Jess thought this was a picture of the population as we discussed the population. So we can say that this part of the segment has gone completely to put. My thought is, look, a lot of you think there's so many folks leaving Rhode Island and moving out of Rhode Island. The truth of the matter is that the chemistry is slightly changing, but we're holding our own in terms of the number of people we have here. That's a good thing. Sometimes holding on is progress, sort of. Now, speaking of progress, we go to 23 projects. The Rhode Island Foundation has been a voice for action plan on the business frontier. They have a headline for their big event from yesterday, and that is that hundreds attend the Ideas Forum and 23 that made it happen. Neil Steinberg is the CEO of the Rhode Island Foundation. I guess he's on Executive Suite this weekend. Check your local listings right here on MyRI TV with Ted Nisi. And he's been pounding away and trying to get the movers and shaker community and the business community to check into this evolving, it's in our backyard concept, that we got more things here than we take notice of, too much we take for granted. And he's got all these other, efforts, consultants coming in. And this particular phase of their conversation on the economy resulted in a 120-plus page report and 23 projects that need to be supported. And Jess went and got the web pages on some of the companies and projects that are going, some of which we've paid attention to, some of which we will pay more attention to and invite them here on the program, because I want to be positive about the way things are going on around here. But here's the thing. In a lot of ways, I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. I support the activity, but I don't know what they're doing. I'm going to say this one more time, again and again. We need one big idea. We need one big idea. And after a great radio show today, weekdays noon to 3 on WPRO, a lot of the business people who feel like they've been beaten down, explain some of the regulatory and bureaucratic red tape and nonsense they have to go through, and an overall attitude that they're there to be beaten up. What if the idea was business first, and we just have like 3 or 4 components of business first, and we start treating business people like kings as opposed to peasants? Wouldn't that be a good idea? Just a little change in disposition could change this whole sucker around. We'll work on that. We'll get there. We got to. We've got to keep it moving. Providence Journal on the double agency. This is the reason I put double agencies up there, because you know what? There's some folks who allegedly are playing the role of moving the ball forward and knowing what team shirt they're supposed to be wearing, and sometimes it doesn't come out that way. There was a tax hearing yesterday, as again in the news cycle it is reported, the Journal headline here. I don't know why we got so many Journal headlines today. That's all on me. Sales tax given further study. This is one of many meetings that have happened with the Legislative Commission. 6 legislators and 6 folks from the think tank community, and the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity is run by this guy, Mike Stenhouse, who's been an often guest on the program. He was ripped today. He put out a press release talking about the folks that are just arguing for arguing's sake against this idea that they have, which is to eliminate the sales tax. That's the basis of the argument. And he started to point out that the representative for the Rhode Island Greater Chamber of Commerce, or the Greater Providence Chamber, the big Chamber of Commerce organization, was busting his horns. Listen to this. Paul DeRoche of the Chamber said what again about the sales tax current revenue flow?
His quote, something, in fact, I've seen nothing in this commission that would make me believe that we're going to see all the benefits you talk about, so therefore I think it would be a crime to interrupt the sales tax revenue flow we have to this state. We think it's a crime that 50, 60,000 people aren't working.
Yeah, he's right. And the Chamber of Commerce, regardless of the hearsay of this particular analysis, the Chamber of Commerce, would you stop playing the role of the status quo entity and start getting in the game and turning over some desks and chairs on the part and for the benefit of your members who pay you dues, not to babysit 9.1%, but to shake it up, baby? Come on now. I'm not going to sing. Final thing. Yeah, what? No, they're not going to move. It's at the Meadowlands, and they're not going to move it. But do we have a headline on this one from USA Today? Yeah, the NFL insists it prepares for Mother Nature's challenge on Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, well, guess what? They're really excited to have. Listen, I'm a Giant fan. I had a fantasy about the Giants actually having a home game in the Super Bowl, but that went away after the first 6 weeks of the year, right? Mrs. Tish is all excited about it being in New York.
There's never, ever been a Super Bowl in a cold weather place that doesn't have a dome. But the Super Bowl committee, and we think rightly so, rewarded New York, New Jersey for building a spectacular new a spectacular new stadium, privately funded, I might add. Mm-hmm. So we're so appreciative of them giving us a chance, and we're going to make it the best ever.
While the temperature 10-day forecast out is like 30 degrees and flurries, they have announced that they have a contingency plan, that if it's really bad weather, they might play it Friday, Saturday, or Monday. What kind of a zoo would that be? I don't think the NFL thought this thing out. You know, I think the Northeast folks were kind of happy that there'd be a Super Bowl here. Not anymore. Don't ever do it again. We'll talk more about it next week. New candidate for Congress against the incumbent Jim Langevin. You meet him when we come back. Stay with us. Already, we've had a lot of conversation about the gubernatorial race and the Providence mayor race and all that kind of stuff. And hey, guess what? The Republicans have come up with a challenger for the incumbent Jim Langevin. Here was the headline: Republican newcomer to challenge him. Well, that's self-explanatory. And now we meet Rue. This is not French for road. This is you're a Portuguese guy, and that's the full name.
Yes.
I've never heard that first name before.
Well, it's a common Portuguese name, but it would ordinarily be spelled R-U-I and pronounced Rui.
Okay.
But my
now
parents,
you sound in Portuguese.
Yes. Rui, and the last name would actually be pronounced Reis.
Okay.
So the Portuguese version of my name is Rui Reis.
Got it.
But my parents, being Portuguese immigrants, when they were brought over to this country, their parents insisted that they become Americans. And so my parents tried to make an American name out of a Portuguese name, ended up with Rue Reis.
Well, you know, that's a fascinating story, don't you think? Because there actually is a lot of, you know, the Portuguese community is so salt of the earth and,
Yes.
and just so gritty and right stuff. And you know, when we talk about a lot of the immigration conversations, we harken back a lot to the Portuguese disposition, which was embrace American culture,
Yes.
embrace, and sometimes it runs somewhat not consistent with what the Latino Hispanic community issues are. And there's common ground, not common ground. There's plenty of Portuguese that still speak Portuguese. I see them in the locker room at the health club all the time. I can't. They drive me crazy. A, because they're loud, and B, I can't understand a damn word that they're saying.
I can't either.
You know, but I went to the Azores. I just had so much fun with the Portuguese folks, and so that's a great community. And there's a lot that you probably learned growing up in a Portuguese family, right?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't really
You didn't
get
feel
to
it?
learn that much of the culture because, like I said before, they really tried to Americanize us.
All right.
Yes.
Well, the American dream, I guess, might be to be elected to Congress if it's for the right reasons. And so I always congratulate people when they decide to run for office because I know
Thank
it
you.
is a tough decision, right?
It was extremely difficult for me.
All right, give me the 30-second bio first so we can get past that. And, you know, as you're on more and more during the season, we'll talk more and more about who you are. But you're working now at Foxwoods.
I work at Foxwoods. That's my night job. And I work during the day as a contractor.
Okay. Business good with your contract work?
I buy houses. I go in and renovate them with my partner, and then we turn around and sell them.
Okay.
So
You're working the job at Foxwoods as a security or as a bonus, or just because you're ridiculously hardworking, or you need the gig?
yes,
All of those things?
I went there originally. I owned and operated a gas station for 13 years,
Okay.
and the health insurance got way too costly for me. So I figured, well, I can go to Foxwoods, work as a dealer, and collect the benefits for my family.
You know what? I'm going to pause right here because that's the setup. And when we come back, we're going to talk about why he's in, why against Jim Langevin, what a few issues are, and we'll be done for the week. Stay with us. Welcome back in. Lou Reese is running for Congress against Jim Langevin. I don't know if we've even put Jim up here. Did we refer to him? Did I ask for a B-roll? I don't know. It's been a long week. There he is. Listen, this is a hard guy to run against because he's so likable. And of course because he's got a disability. He has some empathy built in. That's just the truth. So we'll talk about how you're going to get after him in this race. Did I read that you are stopping your work in order to concentrate on running against Jim Langevin?
Both of my employees, yes.
Just when are you quitting?
I'm going to finish up this house that I'm working on now. We figure we'll be done probably by the end of March. And I was planning on phasing myself out of Foxwoods by April sometime.
All right, so you're working your way up, but so the bulk of this summertime campaign, spring, summer, you're going to be full throttle running against Jim Langevin.
7 days a week. I'll work as much as I do now, 10 to 16 hours a day.
Well, that's fascinating to me because if I read the story correct, Mark Zaccaria, who I've known for a long time and who is here and who's your campaign manager and who's run twice prior, reportedly indicated that he had to recruit you into this idea?
Yes.
Did he have to browbeat you?
How
do you recruit a guy into running for Congress? I don't know how you do that.
Well, especially somebody who's never been in politics before.
Right. What up with that?
Yeah, I've always lived life believing that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about all the things that had to happen for me to even be given this opportunity. And meaning that my life had to be at a point where I could step away from the day-to-day activities of my life to be able to concentrate on taking this type of an endeavor on. On top of that, to have the many individuals that Mark probably approached before me, to have one reason or another why they couldn't or wouldn't run. Just so many stars had to align for it to happen, and I started to realize that...
You're talking like you just got asked to the prom.
I did.
Even though you're the fourth pick on the...
Mm-hmm. Never expected to go.
This is very weird.
Yep, the ugly kid on the block.
Listen, I'm open to any kind of combination these days. We got to shake it up because, I've always traditionally gone after these new candidates. You mean you were asked to go? Well, you didn't wake up one morning, have a vision, and say, So you didn't. You didn't wake up one morning saying, I need to go to Congress, I need to change things. You were literally charmed into it?
I can tell you exactly what happened. Mark called me up. And he says, Rue, I have a big window that I need to have replaced in my house. Could you come take a look at it? I said, sure, not a problem. Went over there, looked at the window, said, yeah, I can. He said, can you get a guy over here to do this? I said, Mark, I can do it myself, no problem. So he got the window, and he said, when can you do it? I said, I need a couple of weeks. He says, okay. Hey, listen.
This is a seducement of a contractor.
Yep.
It ain't Mrs. Robinson, but I think we can just leave it there. All right. So you were encouraged to do it. So now you're on it, and you sound very enthused.
I am.
You got an MBA from George Washington. I mean, you're no dummy. I mean, you obviously got a... All right, so give me your bullet points right now. Why are you running against Jim?
I'm running not just against Jim, but I'm running really against the establishment. Because, and people call me a dreamer because you can't change things. And I said, I don't care how hard it is, and I don't know if I can or not, but I'm going to try. And that's what I am. I am a person who has a belief, and I believe in myself, and I believe that I can have an influence and an impact on people. And so my passion is going to take me there.
Are you very conservative?
No, I am not.
What's
very
the number one
conservative.
issue in the race? What do you think?
Certainly the economy and getting jobs back. We can
Obamacare. Yes, no,
I
what?
think... I believe it's going to destroy whatever gains we could possibly have with the economy. When you see the big businesses and small and medium-sized businesses that are so concerned about how they're going to be able to transition to the Obamacare premiums, that they won't be able to afford it. This is supposed to be affordable, and yet they're deeply concerned that they're not going to be able to continue offering the benefits.
All right, this was just a getting to know you. We'll have you back a bunch on the issues. You going to raise some dough, or are you just going to be a fledgling, one of those fledgling, nice guy, smart guy, gets creamed in the election because he had no dough. He had no dough.
I'm not the type of person who likes to ask for anything. I like to give, but
You need $1 million.
I'm going out of my comfort zone to make this happen.
And you're asking people for money.
I am going to ask.
Are you going to professionally fundraise? Are you going to do all those things that a real candidate's got to do?
Absolutely. That's why I know I need to step away from my work, because I have 2 jobs as a candidate. 1, to go out and make speeches, and number 2, to raise money.
I don't know. I just got this weird feeling about this guy. Like, there's a lot of energy coming off of you. You know, all right, well, come back a lot, okay?
I will do that.
Rue Reese.
All right.
Say it the right way. Your state of mind when we come back. Stay with us. All right, it is time for your state of mind. This is how you get in touch with us. You simply call us and we play a voicemail, or we may read your email, or we may just read your Facebook or Twitter post. We're trying to keep up with the social media. Here's a post I thought was pretty interesting. Tracy writes on Facebook, you have kids on the Rhode Island and National Honor Society who are not going to get a diploma because of kneecap. This is crazy. This from yesterday's program, or last night rather, where Dr. Deborah Gist, the Ed Commissioner, seen here, was on telling us about this 2-year, 4-year college thing. Listen. If your kid is a National Honor Society student, the chances are a selective 2 or 4-year college will say, yeah, come here. And if the college says come here, then the kneecap is not necessary. That is a bad interpretation. But have a good week anyway. We'll see you Monday, 7:30 on My State of Mind. Looking forward to it. Stay warm.